Oh, excuse me. I couldn't stop. I was at a really good part. You may think it odd that I'm here reading at the Canton Museum of Art. I mean, here I am surrounded by wonderful exhibits. Instead of looking at them, I've got my nose in a book. But you see, writing is an art too, and there's no rules that say we can't combine them. The art we're going to talk about today is about combining words and themes with the visual arts. John Sokol of Ohio is an artist whose portraits are connected with words in a very special way. This is T.S. Eliot, a famous poet. Or maybe he's not famous to you. But if you know the musical Cats by Andrew Lloyd Webber, you know Eliot. It was his collected book of poems, The Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats, that inspired the musical theater production. In fact, some of the lyrics come directly from the poem. Many of the costumes in Cats were actually painted. Cats is a good example of the connection between literature, music, and the visual arts. Sokol drew this portrait of T.S. Eliot, but what's truly amazing is how he did it. Let's get closer. The lines that form the portrait are made up of words, the words of the poems of T.S. Eliot. It's kind of appropriate, don't you think? A portrait of an artist drawn with his own words and writings. Laurel Winters of Akron, Ohio also feels a strong connection between words and art. She also goes a step further by using all kinds of media in order to connect them. If words and art go together, why not watercolor and oils, or stamping, or collage? Laurel's work seems to say the sky's the limit.
I want to show you some examples of my work and talk a little bit about my work today. I use a lot of different historical designs in my work, patchwork references, because they have a lot of symbols that women have been using for generations, labyrinths that deal with the paths that people take on their life, and these refer also to energy symbols and other spirals that have been used in artwork. I use these things combined with a lot of different media. I use wet materials, acrylic paints, oil paints, watercolor. I use dry materials, oil pastels, colored pencils. I combine these with things that words and phrases that are important to me. The words in this piece are from a poem that I'll be working with again, but I put the words in here by using stamps. I used some other stamps in here. I even used my own handprint. So there are a lot of different things you can combine together in artwork. You don't have to be limited by just putting wet things in paintings and dry things in drawings, which was what I was taught when I went to school, and it took me a long time to be able to combine everything all together into one piece of art. Now all my work involves mixed media of lots of different kinds. This is a quote from the poem The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost, and I'm going to use this and collage it with a blow-up that I made on the copier of a labyrinth design, because the paths that one takes during one's life are important to me. And this particular poem is one that I hung up in my room when I made the decision to go back to art school. So this and the paths through life and parenthood and art school and career are all things that are important to me and issues that come up again and again in my work. So I'm going to cut that up and glue it on here. Then we'll paint on it, and then we'll use a lot of different things to make designs on top. We'll do a little bit of stamping, just with some simple foam shapes, and maybe use some swirl shapes and draw on top and just kind of see what comes next. And just kind of when you begin, you can sort of just rearrange the shapes and the words and the placement, decide what looks best to you and where you think the placement is good. George O'Keeffe said that art is arranging things in a beautiful way, and that could even be just how you address a letter envelope. It can be anything, but anything where you take deliberate action and try to make things arranged nicely can be art, any part of your daily living. Okay, After that has a chance to dry for just a few minutes, then I'm going to put some acrylic paint over this, and that will begin our layers. I usually start out with acrylic paint or watercolor paint. You can put oily materials, paints or oil pastels or whatever, on top of water-based materials, but you can't put water-based materials on top of oil paint or oil-based materials because they won't stick. I just call it mixed media because all sorts of different things will be combined. I don't mind if parts of it look a little gloppy because I want some of that texture to show. But I didn't used to like texture. I used to like my pictures all to be nice and pristine and smooth and everything all smoothed out. And I've gotten a little freer and a little messier as I've gone along. Okay, so we'll finish putting the acrylic paint on here, and then we'll set it aside and wait for it to dry for a few minutes. And then we'll add some other things to this. Now that this is dry, I'm going to put some paint on one of these stamps and put a couple swirls on there, and then start with the oil pastels on top to add some texture and maybe change some shapes and just see where we go. Okay, looks pretty good. Shall I go ahead and stamp?
Sure.
Okay. Stick it kind of over there. Get a little more of that energy going there. Oh, that didn't work very well, so you can just paint on top of it too, because that's one of the beauties of mixed media is you can just do whatever you feel like doing. And you can continue to develop your picture any way that you want. You can even add fabric scraps. I often do stamping with little triangles as well particularly when I use this quote about the path, because there's a series of triangle shapes that go like this that are, it's called the garden path, and that's a traditional quilt symbol. So I like to take different symbols from different cultures and superimpose them all together into one work. You can add whatever you want to your project, as well as glue things on top of it. More pastels, other symbols, fabric, yarn, whatever else you want to add to it to make it really speak about the things that you think are important to you and you want to have your artwork speak about.
The students at Mogador High School drew their connection between words and art. Like Laurel Winters, they used symbols and shapes to give their pieces an overall theme.
So for the project that you're going to be doing, you're going to take one theme, you're going to take your quote, and together with images, with the style of paint that you put together, with the photocopies that you add onto it, and the style of paint that the way that you apply it, it's all going to come across with this one theme. So you got to think about the composition to fit the type of quote that you have. So remember, the focus of this project is on your quote. Everything that you add to it is going to be secondary, kind of supplemental to it. A word processor, you can play around with different sizes, all right, styles, and again, try to keep in mind that the style of font that you put on or the size that you do is going to reflect the entire theme. I got these photocopies here. All right, there's some Celtic things I just pulled off the internet. It is free clip art, right? So there's no copyright infringement here, just so you know, so you're not worried. All right, so let's go from composition then to color, all right? Because you guys are going to be adding paint with these. All right, you're going to be using some tempera, some acrylic paint.
Blue, yes, that's what I need. Bright blue. Weird it.
I'm glad I didn't wear my best pants today.
And what I want you to think about is when you put the paint on, if it's too opaque, you're going to cover, and you paint over the quote, you might cover it up and not be able to read it. So what you can do is, what could you do to paint to make it less opaque? Water it down, exactly. So make it transparent. Then you can paint a background and still not lose any of your images or any of your quotes. Have fun with the painting. Don't be shy when you do it. Just have fun with it. Painting doesn't have to be brushed on. You can totally use your fingers.
Almost every single color, and I got this more. I'm gonna roll it.
Cool. Are they good floating?
Yeah. Okay, clearly I need the water.
Oh, that's neat. I like that.
I think I'm gonna do a little bit more splattering. That's just fun.
Sometimes having an unclear image in art is what makes it more interesting.
Yeah.
Because it makes people think or question what it is, and it's not a bad thing. Or how many people knew exactly what they were going to do at the beginning, and that's what theirs turned out as, which is cool too. Tony, yours came out that, and that's good because some people really plan. Then how many people theirs changed during the project? And chances are, I mean, that's a lot of times how art, how your the whole creative process works too. Your ideas totally change, and it's not what it's going to be or what you expected from the onset. So, what did you guys think of the project?
This was awesome. I want to do it again.
The way that the different arts combine and overlap is really fascinating. Just think, this picture of T.S. Eliot is a portrait done with words. Those same words are the basis for another art form, the musical Cats. It's really as if there is no separation between the arts. It's all, as Laurel Winters observed, in how they are arranged.
Teaching materials for sharing art are available on the web at wneo.org/sharingart. Funding for this series was provided by the Martha Holden Jennings Foundation and Northeastern Ohio Education Association. NEOEA's members include elementary and secondary teachers, university professors, and support professionals, proudly serving students attending the public schools and colleges of Northeastern Ohio.